Thank you so much for joining today. And this is our final workshop webinar from the TEADAL project that started in the September of 2022, and we are closing this month. So we would like that one final chance to say what we are about, what we have developed, what we have achieved during these a few short years, and also how we have interacted with the community, because we are very, very happy and proud that we have today here experts and panelists who have joined from the associations and projects with whom we have interacted many, many times over these past few years. So thank you so much again to the panelists. And let's go to the speaker slide next, agenda. I will just show you quickly the agenda. Thank you so much, Margota. And here we start with a keynote introduction by our own Professor Pierluigi Plebani. He has been the technical coordinator for the TEADAL project, and he will be like a co-host, because he will again come back in the end of the session to moderate the panel, also giving highlights like, about what we did in TEADAL in this topic of the panel discussion. And the second session is we will dive deeper into the TEADAL technological advancements and innovations. So here we have 3 presentations. So Gigi, if everything is okay for you.
Yes, sure.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hope you can see the presentation, right? Okay, great.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you very much, Amrita, for the introduction. As Amrita mentioned, I'm Pierluigi Plebani. I'm from Politecnico di Milano, one of the partners of TEADAL, and I'm here just to give you, let's say, an helicopter view of the project. This is one of the objectives of this presentation. The second objective is to locate the 3 next presentations that goes into the details of some of the result of TEADAL inside this general picture. So what is TEADAL? To whom that is not aware about this project, even if after 3 years we are assumed that everyone in Europe at least knows about TEADAL, just joking. No, TEADAL is a Horizon Europe project. As was mentioned, we started 3 years ago. We are going to finish this month. We had the opportunity to analyze, to study how we can improve the data sharing between organizations, aligned also with the idea of the European Union common data spaces that is now well known inside at least the European countries. And in particular, we focused on the problem of analyzing how to make secure, efficient, and sustainable the data sharing, where secure includes not only the security, but also the privacy, or let's say the effectiveness of the data sharing, also considering, for instance, the reliability. And it is kind of tricky because when we share the data, we know that we are sharing something that is immaterial by definition. And once the data is moved, let's say, to the other side, to the data consumer, we need also to take care of what the other side is going to do with those data. For sure, we are not able to cover the complete scope because once the data are in the hand of the other of the service of the data consumer, we cannot control everything. But at least in the project, we tried to push a little bit further the possibility to have this control. For this reason, the idea is to consider both what is called the data sovereignty and the data trustworthiness. And another key point of the project, it is to make the data sharing also easy to set up and execute. Because most of the time, the organizations would like to share the data. So most of the time, they are kind of reluctant to share the data. But even when they want to share the data, under some agreements, it is not technically easy to make it possible, or if it is technically easy, it's not, let's say, really sustainable. Just to give an example, most of the time, if I have a data set that I would like to share with someone else, and I have several customers that consumers that can access to this data set with different privileges, different views, most of the time, what is happening is that the data owner duplicates in several instances this data set tailored for the different data consumers. But this means that on the one side, I'm secure that each consumer access only to the data that they have the right to access. But on the other side, I have to maintain several versions of the same data. For this reason, let's say we can focus on two main directions in the challenges. On the one side, the data sovereignty, and the data sovereignty is mainly related to the data provider perspective, because the data sovereignty is the property for which the data owner has a full control, or would like to have the full control on the data along the complete life cycle. And inside the data sovereignty, we need to keep to leave to the data provider the possibility to do it, to express which are the data that must not be disclosed. We need to be sure that the data are properly used when they are sharing. On the other side, and this somehow clashing with the data sovereignty, we have the data trustworthiness. We have the data consumer that would like to access the data, but they would like to take the most from this data. But not only the most of the data, but some properties must be satisfied for this data. For instance, the data consumer would like to have a given quality of the data. The data transferring and should be reliable, and also the storage should be reliable. And the data exchange must be efficient in general. In order to approach, to address to these challenges, what we have done it is to address this problem and to take advantage of two main, let's say, domains. We took advantage, first of all, of the well-known service orientation principles that now is more than 20 years that we are talking about. And the idea is to consider the data as a service as the way in which we can propose the data to the outside. On the other side, we analyzed a kind of new approach that goes under the name of data mesh. It is a socio-technical system that defines architecture and also way to operate on the data in order to improve the data management inside the organization. In our project, we extended somehow this concept of data mesh in the federated environments, because while data mesh was more defined inside an organization, in TEADAL we consider data mesh also inside different organizations. For this reason, everything lives around the concept of federated data product. Data product is one of the cornerstones of the data mesh. Federated data product, it is a data product that is managed inside an organization, that is made available also to someone that is outside, someone that I don't know in advance, like in the service orientation. So it means that I need to publish to make someone aware about the existence of this data product. And once this data product is under interest of to someone else, we need to make an agreement between the data consumer, the data provider, and data consumer. From a functional standpoint, what we have proposed, it is called the TEADAL node. TEADAL node can be seen as an extension of a classical data lake organized in different zones. And in particular, among the other details that could be covered in some of the next presentations, we introduced this zone that is called data sharing zone, in which the federated data products are living. Some details about the architectural view, the details about the platform, which are the tools that were used, will be sorry. Okay, I had an animation. Will be presented in the first presentation that will follow from Fernando Castillo from Technical University of Berlin. I said that the federated data product is the cornerstone of our approach. A federated data product inherits from the concept of data product, the definition. So we have an environment in which we have our data and the resources that allows the storage of the data, the analysis of the data, and also the possibility to enforce different policies in internal organizational policies on this federated data product, and it is offered through a REST API. Again, the idea of data as a service as a way to make this data accessible. As I said before, we need, first of all, to make the data available. So we need to inform also the, let's say, public that this federated data product, it is a data, it represents a data that could be interesting from someone. And for this reason, we need to make it public. Inside TEADAL, we introduced a specific data catalog, and Alessio Carenini from Cetriel will present the details of this data catalog in the third presentation of the next section. Assuming that we have a data consumer that is able to find this data set, this federated data product, we need to keep into account that not all the consumers are the same. So given the same data set, there is someone that could have more rights to see the data, someone that has less right to see the data, or even if the data are publicly available, we can have the possibility to tune the performances between one consumer to the other. So we have all these non-functional properties that need to be captured, and this is what we have in TEADAL and realized in the concept of shared federated data product. What is a shared federated data product could be seen as a customized federated data product in which the policies that I have to consider includes the description of all the agreements between the two parties in terms of reliability, quality, security, confidentiality, and privacy, and whatever. Here, in order to avoid what I said before, where usually companies duplicates the data sets and offers customized data set to everyone, what we have developed is an approach that, starting from the same federated data product, we are able to generate pipelines specifically designed to generate automatically the shared federated data product. So once the consumer found in the catalog the federated data product agrees with the data provider, which is the characteristics of the shared federated data product, a pipeline is generated in order to make the consumer able to see only the data for which the consumer has the right, and the system is also tuned in order to ensure the right level of efficiency. This automation, it is possible because we introduced, we're not going into the next presentation about these details, on a mechanism of concerning the automated federated data governance, where starting from the description of the policies, we automatically generate an extension of an open API that can be checked and controlled using the Open Policy Agent, a well-known mechanism for the authorization. The automated SFDP generation is another tool that is based on LLM that allows the data provider to write using natural language, which are the characteristics of the shared federated data product, and generates the shared federated data product and the pipeline that I was mentioning before. As I said before, and I'm going to finish, one of the main key point when I need to monitor, when I need to share the data, is that I need to check if the data sharing is happening in the right way, not only in terms of performances, but also in terms of checking if the users are properly using the data that has the opportunity to acquire. In this case, we are introducing, we have developed a solution that is called Advocate. That, sorry, I missed the animation in this case, that will be presented again by Fernando in the next presentation. As a last point, we also, in order to enforce the privacy preservation, privacy constraints, also the usage of a tool that is able to enact the privacy preservation along the different pipelines that we have. And details of this will be presented by Eduardo in the second presentation that will follow in the next session. From my side, I hope I gave you just this initial idea or general idea of the project. I take advantage also to say thank you to all the people that has collaborated to the project. Here we have a subset of them in one of the last meeting in Milan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gigi. Do we have any questions now? Thank you so much also, Daniel. I saw you were sending messages in the chat, so I would request everybody if, if you have some things. Yes, please go ahead, Daniel.
Well, thanks a lot, Pierluigi. Very, very interesting and very much related to many activities that we are doing in BDBA. I have a question regarding the data product because, it's some kind of an artifact being used a lot in data mesh, data spaces. So I have a question. In the project, did you have the chance to test this paradigm with industry or industry sectors from a more practical perspective? Because I think from a theoretical point is good, it's safe, and how to bundle data product is a good approach. But I was wondering, it is really applicable to industry sectors and so on, because this is something in BDBA we are also want to test to what extent this approach is useful for the industry to share data in this bundle way. So yeah.
I can give you one answer related to TEADAL and one more general answer. The answer related to TEADAL, we tested this, I forgot to mention, there's no time for everything. We had 6 pilot cases. One is in the industry case. I have to say that in that case, we were able to use the concept of SFDP inside 2 companies that are somehow related in an agreement. Is one the subsidiary of the others. So in terms of confidentiality, is not so critical like in an open environment. We have another test in the mobility space, but in the mobility space, we have to say that the data are, at least in the case that we have analyzed, are public by definition. There is more on making the data really available in order to create the national access point, the regional access point. The more general answer, I had the opportunity to participate to the data project product-oriented architecture summit. That is the second edition was held the last month in Stuttgart, and where we had a lot of presentation from industries, from Bosch, Mercedes-Benz, ABN AMRO. So these are all experiences in which industry really use this information. If you want, we can share some information about that.
So I would like to know more about that. So I will contact you separately for that. Thanks a lot, Pierluigi.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you so much, Gigi. There is a question in the chat which Alessio is kind of answering, but if you think that the next presentations will answer this, Gigi, then we leave this question because then we can quickly go to this next presentations, right? To Fernando and then Alessio.
I agree.
Okay. So Inessa, your question will be answered in the next presentations. Okay, so quickly we can go to Fernando. You can already share your screen, and and start with a short introduction to yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
for the previous presentation and the introduction, Amrita. I'm Fernando Castillo. I'm currently a researcher at TU Berlin. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Just to confirm. Okay. Yes, and our main focus on this presentation is going to be on how can we deliver this trustworthiness and the particular core components that are going to give these guarantees on it. So to start with, Gigi has already shown some of the architecture, and from the trust plane overview we're having for the TEADAL perspective, we're dividing this in 3 different layers. On the first place, we have the business layer, then we have the application layer, and then the particular technology layer that's enable all of these capabilities. When we talk about identity trust capabilities, we are going to be referring mostly about identity based on signatures, blockchain wallets, the digital identity of a particular service that's signing for an attestation or an evidence produced source. Then we derive into the computational trust capability, and that will come from computational integrity or computational correctness, and we will have that for deriving from zero knowledge proofs and trusted execution environments. And then when we refer to behavioral trust capability is when we start gathering these observations that we get from individual signatures or individual computations, and then we can start doing aggregation on those previous observations to start deriving behavior. So the first component into this is the passkeys with blockchains. That means that users can have a digital identity linked for a particular passkey, for example, linked to their own cell phones. And these identities are also portable and assigned uniquely to a particular user and can be governed by on-chain policies. Therefore, ensuring full transparency and compliance with the identity management over time. So this, as I was saying, is linked to decentralized identifiers, which are managed by smart contracts on the TEADAL blockchain ecosystem. And this is interoperable across the different parties because now there's no single entity having the full control of the management, but all of the entities participating into this federation can have a direct access on how the identities are being managed. On the other side, when we have this use of the blockchain, we also have privacy concerns because if we were to have everything on a public blockchain, then all of the transactions could be public. That's why we were also implemented the blockchain state anchoring, so we can have inside of the federation individual transactions, meaning, for example, the signature or the verification of a zero knowledge proof, while having also a higher throughput, but having this important privacy concern. When then we also finally anchor the results or the states of the private blockchain into a layer 1 that could be, for example, Ethereum or a similar solution. So that was for the identity management part, for the identity trust capability. And now moving into particular computational integrity, we've developed zero knowledge machine learning. And this brings up then 2 important capabilities. One is that give guarantees on how particular and individual machine learning models are being trained. Therefore, for example, guaranteeing that models are not going to be biased or that we can run tests on the machine learning model. But not only that, but that we can have a particular machine learning model doing inference over a particular data set. without disclosing the dataset on the first place, but having the capability of doing the inference and analyzing the results of the inference that machine learning model is doing. Then also alongside with the computational trust capabilities, we have Chairmine, which allow us to do multi-party and secure multi-party computation that will also be more explained in detail by the Eduardo's presentation. But what we try to do here is to collaborate with different, for example, data sets that Hospital A and Hospital B have in common, but they cannot directly share because of private patient data and how this data is being handled. But if we start using these different type of data sets with this technology of multi-party computation, then we can have stronger machine learning models or data analytics using both data sets. And this can be reinforced by the use of trusted execution environments where we can have a particular a binary program loaded into a trusted execution environment once it runs, as I've been running with this example of the machine learning model, we can have a guarantee similar to the CK machine learning that we are training particular data sets following a particular set of guidelines, assuring, for example, compliance or regulations. And also in the, as you mentioned there, on the financial data governance, for example, where different subsidiaries of the same company can share data across different geographies. Another tool that was developed was the CK secrecy, that on the first place, when we talk about zero knowledge programming or cryptographic programmability, is that we need a way into how program or develop these programs, because at a super low level, these are mathematical or arithmetic circuits that most of the practitioners or developers are not able to directly use without a high training or high specialization. But with this domain-specific language, we can start writing particular programs on common language or for developers that resembles, for example, a Python language or a C++ or a Node.js type of programming, which, for example, can be used to then write programs that verify, in this case, a service level agreement representing the compliance and how data between different nodes can be shared. And alongside this, in particular on TU Berlin side, we've developed the Advocate tool relationship with also the name service based on the Ethereum name service and the Federation smart contracts. And what we do here is to collect evidence from observable metrics and also getting claims from different types of service. What does this mean is that, for example, when a federated data product or a shared federated data product is accessed or deployed, or when it's generating a pipeline, all of these steps are generating these claims that our advocate will collect, and in comparison with the signatures providing from the original signatures on the particular registry, these are compared and then therefore are validated and notarized. So we can then start applying more complex policies, not only, for example, validating a signature or validating that a zero knowledge proof is correct, but over a larger data set of observations, we can start asking more complex questions. And this goes into lines into all of these trust ops holistic perspective, where we've been developing from the identity trust capabilities and to the computational integrity capabilities with the behavioral trust capabilities, where we have this holistic perspective where every piece of the DevOps cycle is producing evidence. So not only when we are developing with the particular developer signatures where the programs are being built, for example, how a federated data product is being built, in practical terms, this can be represented on a repository, on a GitHub or a GitLab repository where the commits are signed. But then when this is deployed, this can be also run on trusted execution environments or CK programs representing, for example, trusted compute units, where each, as I was saying, at an operational level, it's producing evidence that later can be collected by advocate. And as a last item is the catalog transaction observer that, well, Alessio is going to present into more detail after, but it focuses onto the lifecycle events of the publishing, the editing, the creation of these pipelines to generate the federated data products, how are they requested from one organization into the other, and inserted into a virtual process management notation. So I have presented already multiple components, and with this, the important thing is that we are collecting multiple evidence sources. We have, I haven't mentioned all of them because of time, but the important thing is that with this, we can have identity management actions, evidence collection, how federated data products across organizations are being accessed, how are they initialized, how these data pipelines are deployed under which characteristics, for example, using trusted execution environments. And not also that, but an important part is the energy awareness, and for that we can also have resource consumption metrics, for example, using OpenCost and Jaeger. So now I will show a small video doing the first claim generation. So to start with this, we first are going to deploy the, well, we're first logging to the particular cluster, and now we are going to look into what's on the cluster already. So in the cluster already, there's going to be no pod being deployed, but what we're going to do is going to build the advocate pod, and then there's going to be a claim generation, which is going to let us know where's the claim. This is, as we're seeing now, we have the trust plane on the cluster in particular with Postgres and IPFS for evidence storage, and with the observing of services of OpenCost and Prometheus. Now we can see, we're going to see that the initial status of IPFS, we can see there's nothing being loaded, because the node has still not yet been initialized. And now what we're going to do is going to deploy the particular advocate suite for observations. Now that the pod has been built, we're going to check that the pods are running. We see now, okay, advocate is running on the trust plane, and we will see how the node claim generation, meaning that the node has been generated, is now on IPFS, so we can access. Now we're going to check that this claim and evidence is not only on IPFS for the storage, but it's also stored at a database level. So we can then start asking queries or generating queries to get more information about it. And now we see that this is stored on the metrics table, and we're going to see not only the claim aggregation, but also, as I was showing, the OpenCost claims that we were generating, because we are storing not only claims from Jaeger, but also from OpenCost. And with that, we have our first node claim generated, and we can see there is stored on IPFS. At a database level, we have the path for IPFS here, and a specific evidence is being stored on IPFS. So This then is the next steps for how this integrates with the pilot cases. To demonstrate two initial pilot cases, we see how on the, for example, the hospital cases, we have multiple hospitals and they each can have their own advocate, but they will all share the same distributed and decentralized registry for the federation operation, the storage, and the decentralized computing. And in a similar case on a single owned case for the smart viticulture. So how this in particularly worked, I will do this quickly just to save time, but is that we have the FTP consumer and the FTP provider publishing the first federated data product. Then Hospital B can also publish, and same with Hospital C. The FTP consumer will browse into the TEADAL catalog, and then it will request access. Then each provider will accept that access, and it will therefore create a new SFTP based on the type of access and policy that were granted. And finally, once all of this process is done, the FTP consumer will get its notification. So for this, we have all of the 5 main privacy checking scenario. One is how policies are being changed, how organizations are changing their usage, how is the provenance of the data sets, how the users are providing consent, and how is data being erased. And now, in order to save time, I will skip this aggregation demonstration, but this has been finalized, resulted in multiple publications, and I hope you can read them if you have time and use this in how to see the technical detail on the research perspective of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fernando. Thank you so much. Sorry that, I had to raise hands that, we have to look at the time also. Are there any questions? I see in the chat, but, you are talking. What I will suggest is that can we, if there are no questions, we quickly skip, looking for questions, discussions now. And if we have a bit of time remaining towards the end, then we can open up more discussions, for everybody. Okay, nobody has raised their hands. Can we go to the next presentation? Eduardo, you can start sharing your screen. You are already a co-host.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, perfect. If you share your screen and you give a short presentation on yourself, also introduce yourself, and please also make sure about the time, like 15 minutes, so that we have enough time also for the last session, Alessio's presentation, and the last panel discussion. Thank you so much.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. All good.
Okay. So hello everyone. I'm Eduardo, and I'm a security engineer from Cybernetica Estonia, and today I'll be walking you through our specific contributions in TEADAL, focusing on the role of privacy-enhancing technologies. So the theme here is how we can enable secure and privacy-aware data collaboration without losing utility. And this is also the art of the TEADAL vision. So to add up a bit of what Fernando also discussed, in modern data-driven ecosystems, privacy-preserving technologies, they are no longer optional. They're actually essential, particularly in sensitive domains like healthcare, finance, or government, where we need to ensure that data can be used for analytics and AI while still protecting its confidentiality. So in TEADAL, we explored 3 main technologies in this area: secure multi-party computations, trusted execution environments, and zero-knowledge proofs. Each of them actually allows us to compute over sensitive data without exposing it, so it opens up a new level of trust in federated data lakes. Starting with secure multi-party computation, or MPC, this technology enables different parties to combine or process their data sets collectively and collaboratively without any of them revealing their private input. So you can imagine, for instance, several hospitals that they want to compute joint statistics on patient data without sharing the raw medical records. So that's exactly what MPC allows to do. And this means that we can actually unlock new value of distributed data while guaranteeing privacy. And for this, we kept on developing our product, ShareMind, specifically for multi-party computation in this domain, where we advanced the features and capabilities of ShareMind. Then we have trusted execution environments, which are another powerful privacy mechanism. These are specifically hardware-based secure enclaves that allow computations to be executed in a protected area of the processor. So even if the operating system or the host environment is compromised, the computation at least remains confidential. And for TEADAL, this means that we can actually offload private tasks to confidential computing units, gaining both performance and strong security guarantees. And here we also had a line of our products focused on trusted execution environments that we kept on exploring and improving in TEADAL. Finally, zero-knowledge proofs allow us to prove that the statement is true without revealing the underlying data for why the statement is true. For example, one can prove the compliance with a regulation or the validity of a computation without exposing sensitive details. So within TEADAL, we extended ZK secrecy, as Fernando also mentioned, where we use zero-knowledge techniques to encode verifiability statements, allowing, for example, for monitoring and compliance checking in a privacy-preserving way. So going more specifically, first with ShareMind MPC, our team actually has long worked in ShareMind MPC, one of the most mature MPC platforms out there. So in TEADAL, we integrated ShareMind into the baseline architecture and also demonstrated how privacy-preserving computations can be encoded in secrecy, which is the programming language used for this kind of computations. And we tested it with 3 computing nodes, each contributing a private data set and generating successfully meaningful outputs while preserving the confidentiality of all the data. So this is a concrete proof that MPC integration in TEADAL is definitely feasible. So this is a demo example of the encrypted computations that happen between 3 nodes of a federation and jointly creating an output data set starting from private patient records. Another demonstration involved distributed privacy-preserving pipelines using trusted execution environments. So we deployed a multi-node Kubernetes cluster and orchestrated tasks so that the private parts of this pipeline or of the workflow were automatically executed on trusted confidential computing units. So the important point is that even if the host infrastructure for any of the parts of the pipeline is untrusted, the confidentiality of the data is preserved thanks to the trusted execution environment. So here is also an example where we declaratively created tasks in this workflow or pipeline, and one of them was a privacy-preserving task that had to run encrypted. So therefore, it was allocated to a node that had TE capabilities, and eventually executed the task and generated an output that could be also attested and verified, even if the computations were encrypted. Finally, in TEADAL, we also explored zero-knowledge proofs in a way to strengthen the monitoring, specifically for data-intensive applications. So we created a prototype where SLA verifications were encoded as verifiability statements in ZK secrecy, the programming language that we also developed throughout TEADAL. And this allows us to integrate privacy-preserving monitoring into TEADAL's observability stack, showing that compliance checks and audits can also be carried out without revealing unnecessary details. So this actually opens up new and interesting opportunities for secure accountability. So here we can see that distinguishing the roles between prover and verifier, the prover is the one where the observability data streams come in, are processed within a zero-knowledge processor, and eventually come out for the prover as typical observability, but for the verifier as true or false statements that demonstrate the compliance with certain SLAs that are agreed between the two. Then beyond data technologies, we also contributed to software trustworthiness. So in particular, as Fernando also showed a little bit, we brought in the TrustOps framework, which focuses on continuously building software in a way that produces verifiable evidence of its integrity and authenticity. So this is increasingly important in an era of supply chain attacks that disrupt global operations, and it also aligns directly with TEADAL goals. So we developed this framework that eventually ended up in a couple of publications as a way to do a paradigm shift towards verifiable development and operational processes. And this would eventually, the vision of this is to be integrated with the multiple phases of typical DevOps life cycles. We built the first prototype of a trustworthy continuous integration pipeline. As you can see here, in this setup, the artifacts generated in each stage, the build, test, audit phases of software can be attested and verified. And in this prototype that we demonstrated, also integrated with TEADAL tools, we show that this can be done with real software engineering workflows, creating mechanisms for stronger supply chains, where a piece of software can be remotely attested and the outputs can be digitally signed and eventually verified for the successful generation of multiple phases of its life cycle. And this naturally led us to broader research directions within TEADAL. So these mechanisms that we prototype from MPC to TrustOps, they also can be applied for larger software supply chain security landscape. And this is a very big topic now, and the TEADAL results have already inspired collaboration in multiple upcoming Horizon Europe proposals and visions for cross-project collaboration. So it also showed that our work has opened interesting pathways far beyond the initial scope of TEADAL. So our idea is to bring this knowledge towards securing software supply chains from public artifact attestation that we showed in TEADAL to verifiable SLA monitoring that we also prototyped, to eventually have holistic trust automation that positively impacts the perception that users have in the software that they consume outside of organizational boundaries that produce and serve this kind of software. Finally, another spin-off of TEADAL has been the SynthGuard framework, where we explored how to generate synthetic data at scale in a privacy-preserving way. SynthGuard builds on TEADAL's architectural principles like domain ownership, sovereignty, computational governance to help create synthetic data sets that preserve utility while protecting privacy. And synthetic data is becoming crucial when real data sets are too sensitive to share, for example, in a lot of legally constrained data domains like medicine, finance, law enforcement, and so on. And with SynthGuard, we designed this architectural approach for synthetic data generation and sharing in constrained domains. So the idea is to follow the data mesh principles that also inspired TEADAL, and where different stakeholders keep sovereignty over their data, their real data that eventually doesn't move their computational domain, but can still generate synthetic data sets to enable secure collaboration with the consumers. So this allows organizations to safely share useful data sets without exposing the raw data or without moving it due to regulatory constraints. We also demonstrated the feasibility of this by generating synthetic data that aligned with TEADAL pilots. This involved modeling pipelines, dataset schemas based on real requirements from pilots. So the synthetic data is not just random, but directly useful for validation and experimentation. And this work ensures that synthetic datasets are embedded into the TEADAL ecosystem from the start to support ongoing validation. So to conclude and to wrap up, through TEADAL, we demonstrated technological feasibility of privacy-enhancing technologies like MPC, TEs, and zero-knowledge proofs. We successfully generated and validated synthetic data sets, and we established pipelines that support ongoing validation efforts and real pilot goals. And beyond the project, we and our contributions paved the way for privacy-preserving data sharing and trustworthy software pipelines, and eventually new applications that could ensure both utility and confidentiality of data. Thank you very much for your attention, and for more information, you can follow our updates, and also I'm happy to take any of your questions.
Thank you so much, Eduardo. Do we have any questions? You can simply raise your hand and talk, ask anybody. We have still a few more minutes. Okay. Thank you so much, Eduardo.
Thank you.
Alessio, is it okay for you to share
Yeah, sure.
your slides? Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay,
Please also
great.
shortly introduce yourself and then.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I'm Alessio Carinini. I'm senior software architect from Cefriel, Italy. So in this presentation, I will show how in TEADAL we are dealing with awareness of data availability. And I will demonstrate also how these techniques that we developed are being applied in other projects in the areas of data spaces. So just to give you a bit of a context, okay, you have your data lake that was built with TEADAL technologies. You have inside your data sets, you have your federated data products, fine. But over time, how do you avoid that it becomes a data swamp? So there is a need for applying control, and this means like two separate topics. One is applying governance. So you are in an organization. In an organization, there are rules, roles, processes that can come from the internal organization or for compliance processes that you have to implement to live in the company. And the other topic is automation. So part of the interactions can be automated once you have structured data. So the catalog, the metadata catalog, can become the tool to exert such control. But what is the wider problem? That the world doesn't end where your data lake ends. So there are many other data sharing initiatives that are already in place, and they are existing either you want it or not. So open data initiatives, domain specific or purpose specific custom platforms, data spaces that are being established in this moment. So the main questions become how do you selectively advertise your data product on those external platforms, and also how can I exert control over the digital assets, so over my things, and bring them under my governance rules. So I have something that is outside, I have my users that are in my company, and I want my users to use those external resources according to my governance rules. So we used prototype, a software developed in the context of previous project and adapted in TEADAL, that is Kikong, so knowledge catalog and governance. So it is a shared catalog that is configurable to host an unlimited number of so-called asset types. So descriptions of digital assets or physical assets, basically whatever you want, from a data set to a federated data product to to be honest, it could be used to keep track of your book collection or movies collection. So we adapted it to the context of this project, so to host descriptions of datasets, federated data products, shared federated data products, and also to keep track of agreement between parties. So the emphasis here is being able to cover all the possible cases. I mean, as much as possible. So being able to describe different asset types, so to host different metadata schemas, to host and to be able to enforce complex governance processes, and to help with automation. So let's see if the demo effect is working or not. So this is the live version of the TEADAL metadata catalog. So there is, of course, a UI where you can access all the descriptions of the various artifacts that are being published in your own data lake. So here you can see the description of a federated data product. So there is a metadata profile and a data set is described with another data profile. You have also the workspace area where you can manage the statuses and the life cycles of your assets. So with every asset you can check whether the publication has been approved by someone or not. You can keep track of your favorites and you can deal with user requests. So returning to here, how do I advertise my data products? We are saying that there are governance rules and automation rules, and they are linked. So I already know where I can want to upload my new federated data product description, because there is a relevant data sharing platform that is outside. I know it. I know how to publish technically a new artifact, so I can hide all the complexities of this to a user and just add a so-called action. So there is only a button, you click the button and you expect all the complexities to be dealt with automatically. And this actions system is a kind of ticketing system, so I can keep track of all my requests and all the requests that are available for my evaluation. Because behind the scenes, like what the user see, only a button, like advertise on Barcelona data space. What is executed really is a complex, like as complex as you want, BPMN that takes care of many things automatically. So in this case, logging the operation on the advocate tool, because I'm doing an action, so I want to log it for accountability and audit purposes. I want this operation to be checked by my boss. So there is a BPMN human task where when the task is activated, a message is sent to your boss saying, hey, some of your colleagues is trying to perform this operation. Do you approve it or not? And then if all the checks are fine, all the technical parts of publishing the artifact on, in this case, on a data space, it means that I am already participating to the data space. I have a connector. I know how to interact with it with an API. I implement in BPMN all the various tasks that are required to register a new object inside the connector, so to trigger its publication in the data space, the user sees a button. Press the button, all the rest is not something that it can be concerned with. Now coming to the opposite. So how can I exert control? So I have something that is coming from the outside. I want to keep bring it inside. With this, we do metadata gathering and harmonization. So it is basically the opposite as before. There are external catalogs. So there is a connector that can give me access to the mobility data space. That is one of the things that we are doing, and I will show it later. I know how to interact with it. I know how to get metadata from it. Okay, I do it. Then there is an open data portal. I know the metadata schema. I know the API, how to access it. Give me the data. I do metadata harmonization. That means I convert everything in RDF. And while doing that, I convert also the metadata schema into one metadata schema that is used internally. Then once all the external metadata is consolidated inside the RDF repository, I can query it and then make that information accessible to the UI of the catalog, so that the catalog doesn't see any difference between an internal object and an external object, and the same principle of the user requests, the so-called actions, can be applied. So do you want to use some external data set? Just click a button. Do you want to perform an action? Click a button. And so you don't see any difference. And then you can define your governance processes in both of the cases. Both in the case of an internal object and an external object. So this is the explanation of what is done. So we do like nothing fancy. It is just plain old API polling that can be done on an external endpoint or on a connector, so on data space element. Then once the information is inside the RDF store, we apply a technique that we call the exploration API. So it is a way of applying a Sparkle construct query, then take the results, that is another graph, and reshape it using a JSON LD frame. So the receiving end is able simply to say, this is JSON, so I don't even need RDF. I can represent it the way I want. We demonstrated this, internally in the TEADAL project, but also we had the chance, like Cefriel, to participate in the Deploy MDS project, so in the European Mobility Data Space. And in there, by chance, we had the same problem. So there is a data space, but we need a catalog because it is like the public face of our data space. We want to attract new companies, new organizations. So we have to show to the wider public that we are doing stuff, we have data. Just to say we have things come in so that you can benefit from that. And then in that project we had also the topic of connecting to national access points or to data sharing initiatives in the field of mobility. So we are reusing TEADAL technologies in that project to implement a federated catalog. So we are collecting metadata, harmonizing metadata, showing the results. The results are here. So in in the deploy MDS federated catalog that is basically the son of the TEADAL federated catalog, or an application of, we are getting, well, 2000 and something objects from external data sharing initiatives. So from the Belgium National Access Point that is Mobility DKTP compliant, the Spain National Access Point that is actually an open data portal, so a custom metadata model. The Barcelona pilot site that is implemented via data space technologies, and another data portal from the Italian public administration that is like collecting all the open data of all the public administrations in Italy, and we filtered the mobility items. And it takes, okay. And so we are doing this kind of aggregation, and so we are able to show on the same page, and okay, can be filtered the way you want, all these items. And so we are kind of offering an expanded catalog that can show that we can connect to all of the local data spaces in the EMDS project, and we can also get relevant metadata from external sites and condensate, harmonize them in a solution so that as an external user you can arrive here and say, this is what the deploy MDS and a part of Europe is offering in terms of mobility data. So to wrap up, in the end we provided a tool that is ready to be connected to data lakes in the inside and to external data sharing initiatives to the external side. So it is fully data space ready because we are already using the EDC connector to get the data from a data space. We demonstrated that we can like add governance, so like bring your own governance rules to the wide world of data sharing initiatives. And all in all, we increase the awareness and reuse of existing data products because if I have something, I can advertise it outside, and I can increase the awareness of my internal users of some elements, data or services that are outside, and I want to make them available on the inside of my system. And that's it. So thank you everyone for
Thank you so much,
patience.
Alessio. Daniel has a question.
Well, thanks a lot, Alessio. Very interesting. Yes, I have a question because I don't know if I understood you correctly, but do you think if by using TEADAL technologies would be possible to connect two catalogs from different data spaces, and meaning that one data product from one data space can be discoverable and accessible from users from another data space? And I'm talking from the pure technical perspective. I know that governance and business are another story, but from a pure technical perspective, with the tools you presented, it might be the case, right? That it is possible, or I am wrong about that.
It is, and it is actually like I have to switch hat. So now I am Alessio Carenini from the Deploy MDS project.
Yeah.
Sorry for the joke. Yes, it is, and it is what we are doing in Deploy MDS and in a pilot with the SSC and the EONA X. So we are
Okay.
using this software. Well, first of all, we want to use it to connect, to do this metadata gathering, so aggregation, from all the pilot sites of the Deploy MDS project. So each, and there is Milan, Barcelona, Tampere, Sofia, a lot, 9, if I remember correctly, and like have a federated catalog that shows all the data sets made available in one single place. And then together with the DSSC and EONAX, we are trying to bridge their catalog with this catalog for tourism.
Okay, I know. I am aware of this pilot because we are in DSCC as well, but I was not sure if they are using your these technologies or not. Okay, now you explain it. Perfect. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Is metadata standardized? We like in this demo, because what I showed was obviously a demo, a prototype. We use DKTP. So we are trying to get the metadata that we can and like show that this aggregation is possible and like show it with a tool. Then in parallel, we are studying how the open data product specifications can be turned into an ontology together with DKTP, together with ODRL, to be able to describe data product as a whole. And in that case, the plan or the hope, like we have yet to demonstrate, is that we can get the metadata from around and bring it into this standardized metadata descriptor. Because we feel that the information that is possible to express with ODRL, DKTP, and open data product specifications should be enough to cover all the cases or most of the cases in the available objects that are available out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alessio. Thank you, Danielle. Now we have the final session. Panel, do we have any more questions? Margotta, can you please put up this slide number 4? If you can. Are you there, Margotta?
I think she's frozen.
Yes. Yeah, she's frozen. Okay. Margotta is sharing the screen. So I could quickly tell you about the panelists.
Sorry, I have some
Meanwhile,
problem with I have some problem with the connection.
okay.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm sharing it, but I have some problem with the connection.
Sorry, everybody, just a few more seconds, or else I will, at least the moderators, Gigi, you yourself, and Danielle and Emmanuel, welcome. Savas, please turn on your videos so that at least you are on screen. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think it is not working for Margotta. Gigi, I have also sent you the link privately in Zoom. If you can see, this is just one slide, so we can either put that while you are, introducing the panelists. I think it would be good, you as the moderator, if you introduce the panelists. You can open your mics, Gigi, everybody, all the panelists, you can. Yes,
Okay,
very good. Yes, I
can you
see
see the
it.
screen?
Yes, but not
Okay.
in presentation mode. If you
Yeah,
can put it
let
up on the
me-
presentation mode, that would be great.
Does it work?
Thank you so much. Yes, Gigi, you can introduce the panelists. I think you will also, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Amrita. We are here
Thank you.
for the first for the last session of this webinar about TEADAL. The panel is titled "The Future of Data Spaces" because, as you understand, TEADAL has worked not officially in the data space environment, but we were inspired by the data space community in order to provide some solution that could be interesting for the data space community as well. So we invited for this panel, and we are very thankful to them for their availability for persons that are, let's say, they have relevant roles in different initiatives. So I'm pretty sure that they can give us good insights about how data spaces are moving now and will move in the next period. So we have Savas Rogotis from I think right, Senior Data Ecosystem Project Manager from the BDBA. Here is representing the Data Space Support Consortium, the SSC. We have Daniel Alonso Roman, that is he's from the BDBA as well, Senior Technical Lead Big Data and AI Ecosystem. Matteo Fassetta just informed us that he has some issues. He's going to connect pretty soon, but I think we can start even without him. As soon as he's able to join, I will introduce him. He's a European project manager for GFT Italia, and is representing a project called MobiSpace that has been funded inside the same cluster as TEADAL. The same for Emanuel Spanakis, that is from the fourth ICS in Crete, that is representing the project trustee. I would like to start immediately with some questions that I have prepared for this panel. I think it is better if we stop sharing because in this way we can
Yes.
see.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And I would like to start with Savas. Savas, that is has a lot of experience due to his role in data space support center. That is now a well-established initiative in the European community. My question is, based on our experience, how much of the results, such as the blueprint and the starter kit, have been adopted nowadays by the community? Because it's a long time that we have these tools available. I leave you the
Thanks.
floor, Savas.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks,
here you
Pierluigi.
are.
Thanks for the question. Yes. So, first of all, I would like to again thank you for inviting me in this TEADAL final event. So it's a very big honor that I'm here and also representing the Data Space Support Center in the context of this meeting, of this activity. I would like to emphasize, for starters, that you mentioned the blueprint, you mentioned the starter kits. Of course, it's not only that. The DSCC, after 3 years, we are now in the third year that is being operated as a key initiative fostering the deployment of the common European data spaces, has produced a number of assets that are very relevant for the data spaces community. So I would like also to mention here the glossary, the annual conference. We have Data Space Symposium. That's a very prominent also outcome of the Data Space Support Center. We have also our maturity model and the network of stakeholders as another kind of outcome that the DSCC is producing. Based on activities that we've done together with our communities, I should say that the adoption of these assets, of these outcomes, is steadily growing. Of course, these assets are maturing over time, and they're maturing in a co-creation perspective, if I can say. So it's not built by us for the community. It's being built together with the community for the community, I should say. So after 3 years of operations and the relevant iterations around all these assets, I could say that their adoption is steadily growing. I would like to emphasize a little bit on the network of stakeholders as an asset of the DSCC, because I'm very happy to say that, for example, the TEADAL project or MobiSpaces or Trustworthy project that I have mentioned here are members of this network of stakeholders that we have been building in the data space support center over the past 3 years, and we have so many relevant activities with all these projects to facilitate co-learning among the community. So I would like to emphasize a little bit on that, because I think that this is an important outcome, and several members of the community have been leveraging on this community engagement activities that the DSCC has been orchestrating over the past few years. My colleague Daniel has mentioned in the beginning of the session also about the toolbox. That is another asset that we have been offering, and it offers a very nice, if I can say, sustainability path for several of the projects that are providing tools for the community. So all of these tools could be listed in the toolbox. There is an application process running, and this will give them, as I said, a sustainability path for the next years, because data space designers could go to this toolbox and could find the necessary tools in order for them to build data spaces. So I would encourage everyone that is building tools around data spaces that could give a look in our toolbox and the process for being listed there. As again, it's a very nice sustainability path for several of the projects, including yours. This is pretty much what I wanted to mention. I think that several of these assets are very well adopted by the community. I mentioned some of them in the beginning. You know how successful is the annual conference. It's a very successful event. This is something that we have been producing during the course of time in the DSCC. Also, the blueprint and its building blocks have been used by several initiatives out there. We have been reflecting on their usage together with our community. And I think, as I said, that as these are evolving over time and their maturity grows, that more and more initiatives will be adopting our assets.
You are muted.
Yeah, sure. As usual. Thank you very much for your answer. Very clear and very insightful. Let's move on now to Daniel. My question is related, let's say, to AI that is evolving very rapidly, and every day there is a new opportunity brought by AI. So the question is, which is, in your opinion, the aspect of AI that has proven to be more useful and effective in the creation and management of data spaces?
Yeah, thanks, Pierluigi. Well, if we are talking about the future of data spaces, of course, we have to talk about AI and how AI relate to data spaces. And also, besides data and AI are at the core of the BDBA activity. So, yeah, we are working a lot with our members on this let's say, convergence. First, I would like to say that as we see this interplay is basically we see data spaces and AI having a symbiotic relationship in the sense that they can benefit with each other. Okay, so this benefit goes in both directions. On the one hand, AI is everywhere, so more and more we can start to use AI to support or to enhance many of the capabilities that are running in the data space. And mostly, if now with the new AI agents that can be deployed everywhere, I think that AI agents will be seen more and more as part of the data spaces, let's say, capabilities, infrastructure, and architecture. Okay. Also using this model context protocol that, for instance, in your data product, when you put their APIs and links and so on, maybe you can also consider to include the MCP protocol to link with AI agents that can use also this data product. So, of course, AI can be used through many functionalities, just to name a few, because they are also quite mature. For instance, using LLMs to support semantic interoperability is already, if not the whole reality, at least more and more are being used to support semantic interoperability. Also, for instance, with the catalog you presented before, to support metadata extraction. So we can use also AI to support automatically metadata extraction. We can also use AI for advanced searching and queries. We can also use AI to support data provenance, and so in many aspects, AI can support data spaces, but also the other way around. So because we also see data spaces as the instruments to provide to AI, large AI models and applications, the huge amount of data, and also with the quality needed that those AI applications will need. Because data spaces can provide data with high quality, as also you mentioned before, but also specifically prepared for AI. Either with enrichment, augmentation, with synthetic data. Data spaces can prepare all data to support AI applications, but also in terms of data quality and governance. So also to be compliant with AI Act, within data spaces are in a good position to support the access of AI applications to data. But here we have very tangible example, which is the case of the AI factories. As you know, probably all of you know what AI factories are. So these are ecosystem around performance computing in Europe to support ad hoc development and train of AI models. And we see that we think that data spaces emerge as an instrument to support access to data from the AI factories. So this is a reality, a need, but also part of the future to connect those data spaces to AI applications and AI practitioners, and also AI factories. Also, data spaces are including more and more, let's say, AI-driven services. So services specifically prepared to deal with AI applications. And on top of that, use cases also driven by AI, okay? And on top of that, we have to be also compliant with AI, and also it works in both directions. On the one hand, as mentioned before, data spaces can prepare data to be compliant with the AI Act in terms of data quality and data governance, but also data spaces have to be compliant themselves with the AI Act. So this compliance issue works in both directions. And that's all. I don't think I am saying anything new, but basically I am packaging all the knowledge that we have together with you guys here, and to support this interplay of AI and data spaces in the near future, because we really think that this is the way to leverage data spaces, but also to support the deployment of AI in Europe. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. As you said, nothing new, but I think you you were introduced inside our domain. It was very useful. Thank you. Move to Manuel. Okay, here you are. Sorry, because I don't see all of you.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Now let's focus mainly on your experience in the Trustee project. You have considered many use cases from different data spaces, if I'm not wrong, from the healthcare to the mobility. So based on your experience, which is the domain in which was most difficult, most challenging to deal with when we are talking about trust and privacy?
Thank you, Pierluigi. Thank you all for inviting us to be here. First of all, allow me to express how happy I am for all the things that I learned today that you have achieved. TEADAL is a very interesting project, a sister project of Trustee. So let me start from the beginning. When we were creating Trustee as a concept, as a proposal, and then when we were funded, we were somehow not mature. Today, I see from the presentations that you had, and I'm grasping what Daniel said before, we see a lot of maturity in this domain, and to different levels of tangible things that we can use, whether we are from the AI part or the stakeholder part, etc., or the data spaces part. And in Trustee, we try to analyze the landscape. We try to see what are the trusted and security requirements, as you said, for different data spaces. And actually, we had 6 different cases. So we had education, we had healthcare, cross-data exchange, space, energy, and automotive. So these spaces were very heterogeneous. And what we try to do is we try to apply our innovation pillars on these data spaces. So, and I think these pillars, hopefully, they even are value today. Data sovereignty, trust, and value. These are the things, 3 pillars that we wanted to emphasize a lot. From all the work that we have done, that it is not completed yet because Trustworthy ends at the end of this year, I believe that the healthcare was the most toughest case to tackle with. And the reason is that not only it includes highly heterogeneous data, data that are being expressed or stored or kept in different databases with different types of ISOs, different types of standards, different types of expressions. When we started Trustworthy, we didn't know the explosion of FOMOP or of the AI Act or of the AI factories, or this part of this AI factories to create applications. So this fragmentation of and the heterogeneity in this specific data space was the one that caused for us needs to put more effort in it, if you wish, in order to be able to complete our pilot. A lot of emphasis also was given from our part regarding GDPR and how we apply GDPR in this type of orchestrations to create a secure enclave, a trusted environment that everybody would be able to go there, exchange information from different EHR systems, and at the same time would be able to apply some kind of privacy. We use homomorphic encryptions. Other examples might exist also, but to apply this privacy, you need also now to ask questions. What would you like to do? What kind of processing would you like to do? So, there is a compensation. So in order to provide privacy, security end-to-end, but also to be able to support the users in what they actually need. So if I was going to say one, I would pick healthcare. If I wanted to move a little bit further, the most interesting, it would be automotive. Automotive has been expanded. We see what happens today with the electric cars. The fact that we threw out all the different components of the car and we kept only the mainframe that is able to run many different applications for us and to service us. So I would say this part is very evident for us that was the most interesting, the automotive, and the most difficult was healthcare. Yeah, I don't want to.
No,
If you want.
great. Thank you very much. It's good to say that when we started, because Trustee and TEADAL and other hobby space, we started together. We were not mature. Now we grown together. We had the opportunity to have some activities for cross-fertilization in the last years. And along with us, we had also the data spaces concept that has grown. And I think that now it's time to merge our efforts in a single initiative. Since Matteo has not yet shown up, I would like to go back to Savas. It is somehow related to the question that I gave to Emanuele right now. So since you have a broad view on the data space initiative, which is the data space among the EU common ones that, in your opinion, is now more advanced with respect to the aspects that allow us to use them to share the data, the trustworthiness, so what we have introduced today?
Yeah, thanks for Luigi. Well, first of all, this is quite a difficult question, and I must confess that it's difficult because I see that many data spaces, and specifically the common that you have been mentioning, the common EU data spaces, are exhibiting in very, if I can say, impressive advancements in the last years. I could say that it's true that some sectors, because of the fact that they are more familiar, if I can say, with data sharing activities for quite some years, could be in a better position. I could say, for example, the mobility, the manufacturing sectors are sectors that are exchanging data for several years already. Also, the health sector, because of the European Health Data Space Regulation, is also a sector that is somehow benefiting from being backed up by a very relevant legislation, a top-down push, if I can say. Apart from that, something that I would like to mention is that I have the privilege to act as a relationship manager for the Data Space Support Center with the Language Data Space. And this is another somehow sectorial initiative that is advancing a lot. It has some prominent results to showcase. So Again, I don't want to put a specific common European data space in the spotlight for this, but I can say that some sectors are evolving fast due to different reasons, and the overall community in general as well. I think that your question, however, is very timely relevant, if I also can say, because the DSCC has recently, I think it's published and it's already might be already known to some of you, this European Data Space Awards. This is something that has been already shared with the community. And on September the 23rd, there was a European Data Space Awards launch event that was very well attended by the community. And it's something that we are very proud as the DSCC. This is an activity that is being organized together with the European Commission. And the ambition of this activity is to promote the best-in-class European data sharing initiatives. So not only the common European data space, of course, we are encouraging the common European data space to apply and be part of this activity. But of course, it goes a little bit beyond. It's an awards process that goes, as I said, beyond the common European data space initiatives. The application process is running right now. All relevant information is found on in the dscc.eu website, and I think that Daniel has just posted this the link to it. So for anyone interested to applying, of course, feel free to do so. There is an application process, as I said, in place, and this is something that we are very proud of. So this is a very timely question because it coincides with the European Data Space Awards process that, as I said, we would like to award the data sharing initiatives that are best in class, as we say. These awards are very also closely aligned with the maturity model that is an asset that we have been driving in the DSCC. And we would like in this awards process to also somehow promote its concepts and its values for this maturity model that we have been driving. Key aspects that I wanted to mention about how we could somehow rank the data spaces that are more advanced compared to some that might be less advanced. What I would like to say is that in the community in the last year, the discussion has been shifting, if I can say, from the technical advancements to more business-oriented discussions, if I can say, moving from the supply side to the demand side. So for me, at this point, I think that more advanced, and this is a priority for the community, is being pursued in related to adoption and sustainability. Data spaces are not so much, if I can say, an emerging concept. Data spaces are here. They have to showcase already concrete advancements from a technical perspective, but now it's more than ever important to showcase how these are adopted and how this will be operated after potentially an initial public funding period ends. So for me, all these aspects are very relevant when we go to a discussion about advancements and who is progressing faster than the others. So yeah, this is my viewpoint, and I hope that I have been covering your question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. You gave us good news for this award. I was not aware. They opened the submission. I saw 10 days ago, so it's kind of fresh news. Thank you very much. Go back to Daniel as well. What I would like to know, based on your experience in BDVA, so in this case we are talking about industries. So are data spaces bringing value to the organization? Because usually when we are talking about industries, most of the time they are not so well prepared to share data unless there is someone that imposes the data sharing. So data spaces are bringing value and possibilities to this data sharing.
Well, you mentioned the key word here, imposing, and for me this is key, and also it is related to what Sabas presented before. And let me go to basically to the definition of data space. So if you have a problem, or you have a challenge, or you have a use case that can only be solved but sharing data between different parties in a scalable and efficient way, then you need a data space. If not, you need another thing. Maybe you need the ecosystem or whatever, but not a data space. So data space is not the cause, but the consequence to solve a specific use case and a specific problem. Because again, otherwise, you are imposing things to people who don't have more incentives to participate. So if we follow this approach, I guess that the use cases are at the top of the value creation for data spaces. And we are seeing now the problem with different data spaces in different domains, that they are struggling to foster adoption and also mostly to onboard data providers. Okay. So again, first we have the use case, and in the use case has to be designed in such a way that all the parties in the use case get value out of it one way or another. And we are not talking about only monetization, but we are talking about citizens, patients, whoever is part of the use case benefits from the use case again one way or another. So the use case is key to develop or to derive the rest of the story. Okay. Then you have the data products, and you presented before data products, and data products are composed of different things. And here, of course, data products are key to support the use cases. So it's true that the user of the data products will have value out of them. So it's clear. And then you have the services. So you can hear on top of the data product, and to support the use case, you have services. And of course, services providers probably will get value out of that. Okay. But then it remains for me the elephant in the room, who are the data providers, data product and data providers. And here I think we have a problem. All of us have a problem, also the data spaces, because we are identifying this problem, how the data providers see value when sharing data. And later on you were talking about technical barriers, and of course trust is a key aspect also to facilitate onboarding. But for me, the main point here is incentives. What incentives do data providers have to onboard on data spaces? And honestly, I don't have the answer. I think we should think of imaginative business models to convince data providers to onboard on the data spaces, because otherwise we will fail. Again, we are seeing that in the different data spaces. For instance, I am also the relationship manager of the media data space, and they have designed very nice trials with companies, with everything. But then when you go out there and start populating the data space, all of them are missing data providers. So yes, again, I'm not saying anything new. I somehow destructure the value creation chain in the data spaces. So we have use cases at the top, we have data products, services, but who is providing the data? For me, it's key. And again, I think I don't have an answer. It depends very much on the sector. And I encourage stakeholders to think out of the box to onboard data providers on the whole story. So this is what I have to say for now.
No, I think it was clear, and I fully agree with you, at least personally. This is a key aspect. I have to say that when I ask you this question, I already know that more or less this could be the answer, because I have this impression when I attending conferences and events. But as you said, probably if we are not able to find a solution for that, probably we are going to fail. It is not fully true for other sectors. Thinking about healthcare, in that case, let's say the incentive, it is, let's say, the invisible hand where
Yes,
people
because
would like to do for a common
it's true,
good.
if you have the data providers fully embedded in the use case, which is the case now, it's true. Data providers see the benefit because they are completely benefiting for the use case. But in some cases, data providers are completely out of the use case. So they are purely data providers and they want something in return for the data. And I think this is the problem with pure data sharing, pure data transaction, which is the incentive for the data providers. But yeah, it depends on the use case and the sector. You're right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move for the second question to Emmanuel. I know that Trustee does not consider AI as a, let's say, first-class citizen in the project, but in which way AI can be beneficial for the privacy preservation, or the other way around, how privacy preservation could affect the adoption of AI based on what we have done in Trustee, because I'm pretty sure that you consider somehow AI, we cannot avoid it in the last years.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. But What I wouldn't like to do is to try to elaborate what AI is or what privacy preservation is. These are huge terms that totally change the way we need to tackle specific problems. But it is a fact that today, if you ask a person what is the problem for data spaces and what is the problem for sharing data, right? They will immediately, the first thing that they will say, at least in my opinion, would be trust. Trusting the data provider, not only in the sense that what they will give you is exactly what they should give you, but whether this includes any biasing, whether it is enabled by any governance rules, etc., whether it is regulatory aligned, especially in healthcare. So these are the problems they will tell you. These are the problems also that shape AI adoption, because in AI, what you need is a big set of data, and this is the example we got from ChatGPT, right? When they manage to coordinate on how to create meanings and knowledge from huge databases, they managed to create an LLM that would now be able to reply to many different questions, right? This is the idea. Supposing that a human would be able to understand the concept within a big data space, let's take the example of electronic health records in healthcare, right? Then this person would be able to answer any type of question. But if you want my opinion of what is the main focus and the main benefits for AI from privacy preservation mechanisms like what we try to do in Trustworthy, this would be a synergy for complementarity, tension, and outcomes. So complementarity in the sense that how can we make AI safer? When we will do that when we use databases that are regulated, that they have privacy enhancing techniques inside them, integrated, when we will be able to enforce them to be scalable, to use data sets that are always updated. And tension means that we need less data for training. We need to take into account the essence of time. So this will create a good outcome. So this will create a good synergy between AI and privacy, assuming that we have the core component, which is a data space like the EHDS, which is a very good example on how this had been performed, right? So in my sense, there are many different types of benefits that we can think. The first benefit is related, of course, on privacy enhancing techniques, federation learning, differential privacy, homomorphic encryption, multi-party computation. But now, today, we see there is an expansion and force towards synthetic data. So data sets that we were not imagining that would be out there. And this is important because in some cases, we need to devise smarter privacy mechanisms for this type of data that are now we are able to use them in a realistic fashion that would allow us to create AI that would be able to handle specific problems and specific issues and give specific replies. Let's take, for example, the case of COVID and drugs and how they would affect the population, predictions, and stuff like that. So in that sense, in my view, detecting anomalies, realizing about policy violations. So today, thank God, we have a number of different policies that we need to be aware of within the European Union, to enforce dynamic access, or how we were accessing an AI system. This is what we envisaged in Trustworthy we need to do with AI, but today we see that we need to do much, much more things related to trust and data sharing. One other thing that it is important today is why data spaces, despite the fact that they exist, are not totally aligned with everything, with everybody, and why not everybody want to use them? The reason is that there are restrictions, legal restrictions. So if you ask now today, let's create a data space for healthcare within Europe. This is difficult. This is difficult for two things. The first thing is a technical thing. How do we need to represent data? And this is something that there is a whole community that tries to homopise things, to create meanings, to create things that below them we can have different semantic annotations, different systems for different hospitals. So imagine studying cancer in different healthcare organizations, and everybody are using different components to be able to represent the information that they collect, right? So now we have HOMO. There is a community trying to do that. But on the other hand, we have legal restrictions. And these restrictions is what I think will be very, very beneficial with AI. In Greece, yesterday, there was an announcement that all the Greek citizens would be able to have access to their electronic health record globally within a smart, secure wallet that the government is issuing. So now you see the work that we do in this kind of project is forcing stakeholders that are high, that are very high in this, in terms of what they can do, and they enforcing things that shapes a new market. So we need to use these new developments to be able to be regulatory aligned, to do all these interesting things that we need to do concerning with AI and the data space. As a final mark, because usually, you know, these different groups, they fight in between them. To me, it is a unity, it is a synergy. AI, privacy, and data spaces. All these things, they need to come together to create a compute to data model that would allow now to build different business cases, different innovations, etc., etc. And from my experience, this is the big difficulty, for example, in different sectors, when we want to say that our products are better than other products. We need now to start being compared, or start to compare with one another and see which is better, which performs better, why is this happening, etc., etc. So in that sense, the future is to put everything together, AI, privacy, and data spaces, and to be able to deploy them, ensuring that this trust and this security layer that everybody wants is there, and this should be a commodity. Should be something that everybody know and everybody should accept. It's like the CE mark in the medical devices. You need this flag also for secure transactions through our data spaces. And yes, that would be my ultimate dream to happen at some point. It's difficult, but this, I think, is what should happen.
Great. I think you have already answered to my last question that I would like to ask to all of you. Is this a common question to all of you? The question is, which is the future of data spaces? Let's say in 30 seconds. You clearly said at least one big aspect of the future of the data space. So I would say you have already done the job. Great work. So
if I want to
will,
add just one mark, I would use, because you know we're engineers, right? So we're trying to develop things. I would add I agree with you. Yes, I did answer also your last questions. You're right, but I would add programmable. So something that we can work with to create new products and new developments for the future. So this is our obligation to do. This is the engineer's obligation to start now to see how these different things embedded in a stack-like way would be programmable. So all the tech policies, the regulations, the technical developments, we would be able to use them in different ways as it is more appropriate.
good. Thank you. The 30 seconds now is for Savas.
Thanks, Luigi. Well, I think first of all, Emmanuel presented many things, and I liked his approach. For me, the future is something that is interoperable, if I can say. Data spaces need to be, in a way, interconnected among themselves, need also to be very well integrated in the overall cloud and AI ecosystem, cannot survive outside. So for me, these are important things to take into consideration for the future of data spaces, how all this will not act in isolation, but all together in the same big picture. I could say, as I said before, that critical parts and things that will be on top of all data spaces in the next period is also the participant adoption. Daniel framed it very well. We need to find ways to attract participants, data providers. It's one important aspect here. I think that if data spaces work well, the technology is there, the governance is there, and it works well. On top of it, it's a key priority for data spaces to be able to incentivize participants to enter and to show them clear value, not only in the data sharing per se, if I can say, to share data, but also compared to some competitive, if I can say, approaches. Data sharing can happen outside data spaces. So for me, this is another thing that it will be very prominent in the next period.
Good. Thank you. Daniel, you have the last word.
My last word has been already said by my previous colleagues. So I agree with Sabas and Emanuele. So first, data spaces should not work in isolation, but connected with many instruments in Europe and abroad. But this connection has to be completely seamless to the user. So, and here I would like to reflect on the roaming landscape. So when you connect to a mobile from another country, you don't care which is happening underneath. You just talk to other and the connection interconnect automatically. So for me, interoperability has to be transparent for the users. And again, this is key. Of course, as mentioned before, data spaces have to respond to real needs, to real use cases and real challenges. Otherwise, we are purely following a theoretical exercise that has not real value. And finally, also, Emmanuel already mentioned that. For me, I see data sharing in the future as a commodity, as any other commodity. And here we can learn of the web. So now you go to the web and you don't care what is happening underneath. Basically, you just type your URL and you are connected. And now with ChatGPT, again, you don't care. So in the future, to foster adoption and usage, has to be perceived by the user as a commodity. And of course, for that, we have to educate people, not only the data scientists and the data spaces designer, but also the people at large, to share data, to get value out of their data, and to also see the benefit out of sharing data with others. So it's quite ambitious, but I don't know. Let's see. Step by step, I think we are approaching this situation. So this is my last statement.
Okay. Thank you very much again to all of you. I think we have put many things on this virtual table to discuss also in the future. It was very insightful also for me, and I hope also for all the attendance. I don't know, Amarita, if we have a couple of minutes for questions.
We have time, yes, if we want, because we are many participants today and also experts from different organizations. So if there is anything that anyone wants to add from the audience, you can open your mic and talk. Okay.
Well,
I think not. Alessio,
related,
yes.
related to the data space topic, I would like to point out that when we speak about interoperability, okay, we are engineers, so we like the technological part, but the biggest issue is in the contracts. So I'm participating in a data sharing initiative, and the contract say that we are a closed club. So the outside doesn't exist. The outside is not allowed to interact with me. And so one of the biggest challenges, unfortunately, because I'm a computer engineer too, so I feel the same pain, is contracts need to be made ready for interoperability. So what happens if I open up my data sharing initiative to another data sharing initiative? And that must be like legally bound somewhere.
Yeah, fully agree.
And if I may intervene, Alessio, to say something, it's not only the contracts, it's on the fact on when you do that, when you share data, let's say you're sharing metadata, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is a result. And let's say, I'm going to use the healthcare example because it is more evident. Let's say that we identify something for a specific person. Ethics comes into place. So metadata were used and identified something. So now, if I want to generalize, I would say interoperability bi-directional. So interoperability when you're sharing, but you need to also to know that someone can come back to you in a proper way and update your metadata and update the way and update the results, update the outcomes. So this is also important in my view. So because we're used to say about interoperability, the way we interact. No, it's the way we interact should be both ways. So you give data and you get back something, and then you can use it, etc. So it is a complex case, yes.
Then I will let Daniel speak, but we have the experience of a regional data sharing initiative in Lombardy. And in there, my colleagues that are covering the scientific part, they are telling me that in many cases, it is what is happening. So I'm offering data, and when a new customer arrives, instead of saying pay me, they say, yeah, give me that data in exchange. And that is, I think, an emerging trend. Like instead of money compensation, like a tit for tat approach, like give me that instead. So I will give access to my data. But it is from the private sector. So health is a very delicate environment and domain.
Yeah, but let me go to my previous statement because sorry for being insistent on that, but I think if there is a real need and a real use case where different ecosystems have to agree on common rules to share data for a common benefit, it will success. I mean, one way or another, because it's true that if we are connecting with each other for the sake of connecting, okay, what is the point? I don't see the point. I'm probably I want to protect my data, my metadata. I want to protect everything because I am disclosing a competitive advantage. But there is a real use case behind where I can benefit, and it's a different story. So I know that I am being quite idealistic here, but still, I think it has to be purpose-driven, all this aspect. Otherwise, we are failing. And even though in that case, Alessio, I know that will be problems to share data and to agree on contracts, but at least we have a common purpose. Otherwise, it will not happen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Alessio, and all the panelists. I think we can continue to discuss this for many, many more minutes. But if you would like, I mean, everybody has the contacts already. But if you would like, you can put your contacts in the chat, the panelists, I mean, the speakers also, or any initiative or anything that you would like to talk about, like give the information about events coming up or things, please use the chat. And then if everything is fine, then we can close the call. I just would like to say that since the meeting is recorded, we would process this and publish it on the TEADAL channels, the website, and as well as the presentations. If in case from my colleagues, they have, they have content, a couple of slides which they would not like to share, then we would just remove those parts. But most of the slides, if they are free to share, then we will share the slides, also put it up on the website. And this, I will also put it on LinkedIn so you can keep an eye, and things will be available very shortly. Is everything all okay? Anything else to add? Gigi, you can take the stage. We can close the webinar soon. So we are almost
I think
ending.
we can close. Thank you very much again, also to you and Rita, that you have organized this webinar in a very great way. It was a pleasure also from my side. Also a good opportunity to talk with relevant people in the community. Hope we can meet in some events in the near future.
I agree. Thank you, Gigi. We have been associated with BDVA, Data Spaces Support Center, and our collaborators from Trustworthy and Mobi Spaces and other projects all throughout the project, right? So it is a good thing to wrap up like this. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining, and we stay in touch. Thank you. Have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.